back to the Daily Grind. Thanks for checking out the channel. Make sure to hit subscribe if you're new and hit thumbs up if you're not a baby back pickle biting bitch boy, cause you know what time it is. It's full time.
MMA.
Anderson Silva plans to continue fighting despite his latest USADA failure and being pulled from his fight versus Kelvin Gastelum in the main event of UFC Shanghai, where he was replaced by Michael Bisping. Man, I know what to say about this, but there's two ways you can go with this. I mean, for one, of course, you never can tell somebody when to retire, especially when this is their source of income or whatever. But actually, for Anderson Silva's sake, I mean, he's doing this for fun at this point, so there's really no reason for Anderson Silva to even retire. It's not like he's just taking too much damage. I mean, he was about to fight Kelvin Gastelum, and the reason he's not, it's not because he got knocked out. That's not his issue. He just failed a USADA test. I mean, and whoa, that was Anderson Silva's second. Yo, I just thought about this on this video. Remember when Anderson Silva popped dirty the first time? Dick pills. You remember when Jon Jones popped dirty the first time? Dick pills. Now they've both popped again? I really didn't realize that. At first, whenever Jon Jones popped dirty the second time, I was like, look, this even makes it look worse on Anderson Silva because Jon Jones used his excuse for the first time, and so now the dick pills thing is like, just looks like an excuse, even though Anderson Silva had the same one. But now Anderson Silva actually has popped again. Wow. So okay, that kind of blew my mind there. Both of these guys used dick pills for the first excuse and ended up popping again. So hey, it is what it is on that. But Anderson Silva took to social media and let his fans know that he's not retiring. Essentially, this is what he had to say in English. His actual social media post was in Portuguese. He said, "Thank you, my people. You can be sure it is not over yet. My love and my passion for the fight here are firm and strong. The fight continues. I will stop when God thinks I cannot do it anymore. So who is my fan can be sure that soon I'm back. The joy of those who cheer for me and the sadness of those who don't." And see, one thing about Anderson Silva though, as much as if you don't like him, if you don't like steroids, if you think he's a cheat, all of that shit, one thing that I've got to say is, this is somebody like that's a lot of people who watch the UFC's like idol, people that got into this sport. I mean, he's not my idol, but I wouldn't have given a fuck about the UFC whenever I got into it if it wasn't for Anderson Silva. Me, just a young fucking high school kid that's not, I don't know anybody in my family that does fucking karate or jujitsu or wrestling or nothing like that. Just as a casual fan that watched NBA, NFL, and just did stupid other little shit. And whenever I saw Anderson Silva doing his thug dizzle, that's what made me say, yo, what the fuck is UFC? This shit is the dopest shit ever. We need to get together on the weekends and go watch this cat. Then you find out about the Rampage Jacksons and everybody else you start to love, the Chael Sonnens, the Chuck Liddells, and everybody else that you start to become a fan of. But if it wasn't for fucking Anderson Silva, a lot of people really wouldn't give a fuck about this. And you know what I'm saying? They might have found Conor McGregor today, but back for a lot of people, Anderson Silva is the GOAT. And kind of like Jon Jones for some people. Jon Jones is the GOAT. You always are going to believe he's innocent and he can do no wrong. That's how it is with Anderson Silva. I mean, as much as fucking you just consider the fact that his era was before USADA, so of course a lot of these guys will probably had better tests. They probably weren't fucking juiced to the gills like old Strike Force Pride days or whatever the fuck, but they had masking agents that probably, or they were probably able to do some shit that they can't do with USADA around. Did that have a part to do with it when Anderson Silva created his legacy? I don't think that really hurts Anderson Silva because USADA wasn't around for anybody. The guys that Anderson Silva was fighting, it's not like they were being USADA tested and he wasn't. So Anderson Silva's legacy is always probably going to be intact, except for when you want to talk about greatest fighter of all time. It depends on what you're talking about. If you're talking about greatest fighter of all time, that probably can come to, especially if he keeps fighting. If he goes out on an 0-6 losing streak, 0-7 losing streak because he's still having fun and God hasn't told him no yet, yes, it's going to make people say, okay, maybe he was overrated. But my thing about that is I just don't think that's the case. For me, I won't think that's the case, but I completely understand if you do. This is why I don't. Because Anderson Silva is one of those guys. He's not doing this just for a paycheck. He's not doing this just because he has to. He's doing this as somebody who has, you know, helped build the sport, and he's having fun with this shit. Look at one thing that really stood out to me on this picture he posted on his social media. This nigga's got a Nike, a Phillips, a Burger King, and some other joint on his other shoulder. All of these brands. Anderson Silva was a crossover success. As much as you talk about a crossover star, crossover success, that was Anderson Silva, just with his fighting style. Because look at them brands, bro. You don't see those brands. You might see a Monster or some shit, but this dude was, and that was before fucking Reebok. I get it. But what I'm saying is, Anderson Silva is one of the fucking greatest, one of the most influential, I'll say. And when I say influential, I don't mean to other fighters, but he helped fucking build the UFC to where it is today. I have to say that, and that's just a fucking fact. I don't care who you are. There's a lot of people, bro. I remember when I used to go to Buffalo Wild Wings and watch Anderson Silva. Like, I was a huge fan. That's who I watch. But, you know, you'd see, like, the fucking, like, I don't know, I want to call them hillbillies, but there was just a lot of people, and it just tended to be like drunk white dudes that didn't like Anderson Silva. And I used to always wonder, like, what the fuck is it? Why don't these people like him? So whenever Anderson Silva does, like, let's go! You know, I'm cheering for his ass. But every time he does something that they don't like, boom, fuck Silva. I never understood it, because that's who I started watching the UFC for. But Anderson Silva was polarizing. There were people that didn't like him. There were people that did like him. But it really didn't matter, because he was a fucking dominant champion, very exciting fighter, and he's still probably going to have one of the highlight reels that'll never be topped by anybody in the UFC ever. It doesn't matter how many clean or vicious knockouts you have, you're not going to top some of the shit Anderson Silva did when he's fucking moving out of the way of your shit and just dropping your shit. No one's going to do that. It's not happening. So that's why Anderson Silva can fight however long the fuck he wants. And as you know, it's different than somebody that's got knocked out 10 times in a row or 8 times in a row. You know, like fucking, what's his name? That's not even in the UFC anymore. Big Nog or somebody. I don't even remember which one it is. But it's not like a guy that's got knocked out in his last 3 fights or last 4 fights and you're like, yo, this guy needs to retire. He's doing this shit for fun. It's not about the wins or the losses anymore. He's getting in there with these young cats and tangling, and he's also helping build young stars. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. I've said enough on this video. Thanks for watching, and let the full-time fan know what the fuck you talking about in the comments. I'm out.
Da 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 da. It's the motherfucking D-O-double-G.